here with my co-host, Eric the Watcher. And tonight we're bringing to you topics such as electronic harassment. So, Eric, how are you doing this evening? And tell me what's up with you.
Doing great. I'm actually writing the code for that side project that you were talking about the other day.
Good. I can't wait. That's awesome.
So I'm having fun. I'm doing what I love.
It's the best. At least you're doing what you love. Oops, hold on 1 second. Yeah, that was a little backlash there on my TV. I try to put it on the big screen so I can see the comments better because I guess I'm getting old and blind.
Oh yeah. How does that actually come into Restream here automatically? Will I be able to see all the comments of people?
Yeah, were you not able to see the comments the other night, or?
I could, but I haven't used Restream, so I just didn't know if that
Okay.
was something
So
that
you
was
should be able to
automatic.
type in there as well.
Cool.
I honestly haven't been on your end before, but I've seen it done. So
Okay.
I don't know if Candy had figured that part out or not, but
Yeah, I should bring up
should
the
be chat
YouTube
or
stream as well.
something.
Okay.
So in fact, I'm getting that up now as well.
So we're talking about the electronic interference thing, and I actually realized that last time we were talking, I started to talk about how I was on a big Discord voice chat one day. I think there was 150 or 160 people on there, and remember I was saying that it was like really chaotic, and then someone like just triggered the right question, and I went on for like 10 or 15 minutes, and everyone was actually listening. It was really cool. But then, like right when I was leading up to like the main point, like buttoning everything together, I thought, oh man, this is it. They're all gonna actually understand what I'm talking about. I'm about to like bring home this point and like change some lives, because I was really hammering on some truths. And then right when that happened, disconnect, and not just like a disconnect. I mean, like everything broke down. Laptop took a dump, and I know what I'm doing with computers.
That's me too.
Home internet got all weird.
Mhm.
I mean, I had to physically go unplug the router in the basement and everything. And I'm someone that like, I don't just have the router from like the cable company. I buy my own router. I buy my own switches. I buy my own access points. So my stuff usually isn't crashing like that. So I thought, okay, of course this happened, is what I'm thinking. And so I get back on after restarting everything, and maybe like about 5 minutes of, like frantically restarting everything. And it came back right away. And I jump back in, and everyone's like, oh, we're glad you came back. Like we're wanting to hear what you had to say. Cause I left them all hanging, and I kid you not, in like 30 seconds, it happened again. And I basically had to just give up. And just like a couple people DM'd me on Discord, because they were honestly really curious about what the end of what I was talking about. And so yeah, I got to get connected with a couple cool guys on that Discord voice chat I landed in that one day. But I think it was definitely a case of typical electronic harassment / interference, which happens to me my whole life probably.
Yeah.
And of course now I'm more cognizant of it being like an actual thing, instead of just like, oh haha, what a coincidence, my technology is failing. No, it's intentional. And of course it falls into alignment with what we were talking about a couple nights ago, with electricity being some kind of portal or connecting vehicle.
Conductor, maybe of some sort. We're the conductor, right? I don't know.
Yeah, between the spirit world and this physical reality. Because no one can explain what it is. We can interact with its the effect of it, and somewhat monkey with the effect, and exploit the effect, amplify it, disperse it, but we don't know where it comes from. And I think it really is something to do with the spirit world.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then actually something more recent. So that was like a year and a half or 2 years ago. Something that just happened a couple of weeks ago. So, I've been telling you about my sister, who's very much like me, and I just mean that she's like very intuitive.
She has the awareness of it for sure, huh?
Yeah, and it seems like when we're hanging out, and especially when we're like ideating or like getting really excited about doing something, then the matrix breaks down.
That's what just happened.
The matrix breaks down around us.
Yeah.
And so when I'm watching the Matrix 4, when that came out, I'm nuts about the Matrix. Of course, I watched it on release day.
I got to
And
see it.
of course, I didn't go to the movie theater. I'm never going to go to a movie theater again.
Mm-mm.
Luckily, it was streaming live. I forgot what service, but
I was just watching it just right before
really,
earlier when I talked to you. Yeah.
I really don't want to even chance of ruining it for you, but I'll just say that yeah, there's an overall theme in Matrix 4 of awakened spirit-filled people
I
getting
definitely got to
together.
see this. Yeah.
Yep,
I'm watching one over again. I watched it a million times, the first one.
that's how you know a series is so good, is when you like approach it with care and respect like that. Like I'm not even gonna ruin 4 unless I do a re-review of 1, 2, and 3, which is what I did leading up to the release of the 4th one.
That's
Uh,
great. That's
yeah.
great.
But anyway, a couple weeks ago, me and my sister were talking to someone over our like in our podcast studio setup, that desk that you see us sitting at. And
Yeah, that's
I've got
cool.
this really cool audio switchboard from Rode. I think it's called the Rodecaster Pro 2, something like that. And I've never had a problem with it. But when me and my sister were talking to this one person, we were, as I said, we were almost like getting ready to call to action something and like actually do something. And right when we were all getting excited about it, it's as if an invisible hand or force or whatever was like mashing its hand on top of the like sound effect buttons. There's like
On
these
the
8
soundboard? Oh my
on the soundboard.
gosh.
And when you do so, they light up. So
Yeah, I have an old one.
and I've never even used the buttons, so it's not like they're wore out. I just got the
Crazy.
thing, and so like there's like the stock sound effects, like clapping and
Yeah.
buzzing.
The
So we're talking.
laughter and
So we're talking to this person, and all of a sudden it's like but, and you can watch the lights are lighting up. I mean, I couldn't see the buttons physically being pressed, but it's like the lights are lighting all up and they're making all this noise. And my sister's looking at me like, "What is that? What is that? Is that us?" So this kind of stuff
that's
happens
hilarious.
to me constantly. And another thing I wanted to point out that I thought was really creepy. So we were just chatting earlier today about like I really just need to go outside more often and record the night.
You may not want to.
Maybe not after I would just have it now, but so you get me thinking about this, and it's dark here where I am right now on the East Coast. And I was up at the other house a couple 100 feet away, chatting with my sister up there. And I saw it was dark outside. I thought, okay, I better come back. And I thought, oh, well, it's dark out, so I'm going to start recording like you, and maybe catch some crazy stuff. So what goes through my mind is like, watch, I bet I'm going to hit the record button, and in 1 second, something crazy is going to happen. And I kid you not, in 1 second, something crazy happened. I hit the record button.
Yep.
And it's pitch black out. Now, I didn't get like the UFO sighting that I was imagining, but as soon as I hit record, and it's on my phone, I'll be able to go back and probably get the audio clip. But something made a noise in the middle of nowhere, like like a really creepy like
growl, like a
just a
horror.
wee.
Yeah.
just
Evil demon. I know what you mean.
just the
I know.
weirdest noise. It was like, "Meh." And I've been out here for almost 2 years. I've never heard anything like that. When it gets dark here, it gets quiet. Um, oh, and get
That's
this,
how it is here.
and it wasn't a one-off thing. So I'm like, so I get this like rush of like fear and adrenaline. Oh my God, like this is the creepiest noise I've ever heard in my life. I stopped recording. I turned right around and went back into the house up on the hill there. And I grabbed a flashlight because it's super dark out here. And so I have the flashlight in my camera now, like facing, so I'm able to see what I'm recording. Hopefully get this on video.
Right.
And I start recording, got the thing out. I'm like, are you still there? Are you still there? And I get
You sound
nothing.
like me talking to it.
So I was doing like, yeah. So I'm trying to talk to it, cooked it out, whatever, talking to nothing. This is like it was like something invisible. It was like something invisible in an empty area. Okay.
I told you that's what I see, the invisibleness in an empty area.
Anyway, so this is only a minute later. I'm back for round 2, trying to make my way back down to my small house down here. And I got the light on and it doesn't respond to me. And then, so I turn back to start walking down and immediately, oh my God. and I turn
I
the
know
light.
exactly the noise.
I turn the flashlight back with the camera and nothing there, of course. And I'm someone that grew up in the woods. I probably shot a gun. I'm trying not to exaggerate. How many rounds did I go through as a child? Maybe 1,200 rounds. So I grew up in the woods of Wisconsin. I mean, I've shot at every kind of animal there is. I've heard every kind of animal.
I mean, there's nothing to fear, right? Until that.
Until I heard that noise that was not an animal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know people say that all that. They're like, how can you go out there all by yourself? And I'm like, I grew up in the country. But like you said, that noise, I'm going to find the one I have of it. We're going to have to compare that later. But
I think
that was terrifying.
Yeah. It's probably on imagine. Audio on that video on my phone. I hope it was loud enough to come up and make its way to that microphone. Yeah, it was just a really creepy sound. I'm
gonna have to find mine and we'll compare. So
yeah, and to refer back to the thing I was just talking about with my big audio chat on Discord, that one day I was actually looking at your video where the interdimensional being explained, take 2. I just went. So what reminded me of that story again is how you have this comment there that says exactly what I just said. Every time you get to the point where it's the most important, you get cut off. The electronics go insane. How can this be happening to so many people? The same exact thing, right?
Exactly. It's true too. It's like Richard Bruce experiences it. I mean, everybody that's, I guess, away. It's crazy. Is Richard it not Bruce. Crazy?
I just love that guy. We need to get him on here too. Yeah. I think that would be super cool.
You know what? I'm going to reach out to him since you said, yeah. I mean, I've been meaning to forever anyway. So we should for sure.
I emailed him. What did I tell him? I forgot exactly, but I've emailed him about 2 or 3 times, and I sent him one video I thought that I think he would really like. And I finally got a response, and he just said, thanks, like exclamation mark. He's so,
he gets a lot, and he's just not sure what to do. He's kind of awkward a little bit, right?
He's so awkward, and I think he's
awesome because of that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying anything I wouldn't say straight to his face. I think he's very just guarded, or like he tries to just stay out of the people. I don't think he likes to go back and forth. He doesn't want to be
in the middle of it at all.
Yeah. And I totally understand.
I don't blame him. People can get really darn right mean. I mean, I was attacked so very much in the beginning. I just didn't care. But I mean, no, sometimes I would rip a new one right back, which, I've learned how to deal with it differently. The longer you go through this, the more you realize that it's designed this way. So it is designed this way. I don't know any other way to say it.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
ghosts in the machines, Argo says. Yeah,
There's
man.
ghosts in the machine. That's exactly right.
Isn't that
And in
interesting?
this
Yeah.
case, quite literally for you tonight.
Of course, yeah, the
Yeah.
epic anime Ghost in the Machine. I mean, obviously the reference there of the ghost being a reference to the spirit in the machine, the
Yeah.
soul, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's totally a thing, man. They say,
That's truth, man.
isn't that interesting? They say our bodies are like electrochemical machines, and
Yeah. It makes sense though.
once the
It's making sense,
electricity
more sense. Yeah.
stops flowing, we stop living. So
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's why they use a defibrillator to get people's hearts back pumping in. There's got to give me this. All of
is
this, that we're an electric universe, if you think about it, right? I mean,
yeah,
for real.
yeah.
It's very, very, it's all connected in so many strange, bizarre, yet makes sense kind of ways. Don't even have the words for it. It's like, just, how did I not notice this or see this before? I guess is always what I always go back to. Like, how did I not see this?
Yep, I'm starting to be more cognizant of stuff now, and it's fun to have that mindset, because then you're more aware of the spirit world and spiritual attacks, if
It's
someone
made it
comes at
all very real.
yeah, you realize that if someone is like, for example, someone come and verbally attack you on the sidewalk or something like that, well, it's probably some spirit there, not to
Exactly.
not
I've
to
got a video on with the girl that you could see her filled with the demonic. I mean, it was on her, in her. You'll have to look through my video. There's one, she's holding a fence, and man, you could see she was possessed, and you could
yeah,
see it. It was quite literally terrifying when I looked at it in the video. I didn't, I was doing a surveillance, right? My job's to watch people. I look at this over my shoulder, and there's this girl holding this fence, and I do what I do. I just immediately start videoing, and I snapped a picture real quick as well because I had to get back at paying attention to my subject. And when I got home and I looked, I was like, "Holy hell! What?" I mean, it was. It was just blatant. They were all in her, on her. I mean, it was just demons, but a
wow,
big demon in the upper portion of her head. It was.
wow,
I don't want to see it again, but I'm sure I will. So,
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
ever get used to that.
No, I've seen those faces, and it's got a certain look, and
Yeah, they're their own look for sure.
there's this Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I think it's called something like Last Days, where it's like the typical apocalypse is happening, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is like trying to help out the like woman who's destined to give birth to the Antichrist. Like one of these like super
Oh, I
typical.
remember that now that you say that.
It's
That's been a
something like
long time ago,
that is probably 15 to 20 years old now. Yeah, but it's
for
something like
sure.
Last Days or Final Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I think it
Anyway,
was End of Days, right?
End of Day. That sounds like it. Yeah,
No, that's not.
it sounds
Maybe.
like
I don't
it.
know. I think
Anyway,
it was, though.
in that movie, the main girl, she's on the subway, and she sits down, and directly across from her, there's this guy who's it's like a redhead. He's got these like kind of like half dreads. Like he's very obviously like homeless, very rough looking,
Yeah.
and he has this crazy demonic look on his face, and he says something to her that I can't repeat here. It's pretty horrible. But I swear I've seen that same exact guy slash face slash spirit behind the face.
I've always
Uh,
said that too. I can't place it though.
mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
I've seen the same face on multiple people. So
Yeah.
they recreated that demonic face so well in the movie. It just creeped me out every time I see that.
I know exactly what you're talking about now because I was trying to place it because I mean I've seen it before, but it's not like in a million. Like I only seen it once before, and I knew that face when I've seen it a few times, and it's like I didn't know if I dreamed about it, but that makes sense. It probably would have been that movie, and I bet you could describe the face probably exactly like I would too. It is definitely it's its own thing. And then the movie Predators, speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's how I describe the clearish ones that I see that manifests. I don't see them as much
Interesting.
anymore, but that's the only way to describe it. Like they blend with the environment, but you could tell that there is a formation there.
Okay.
I used to see that a lot, and they have different points throughout their being that they can light up on command, and this is also what I see in the sky a lot. But sometimes they completely manifest themselves. So,
And you
but
know
I mean,
what
I could
that
see them no matter what. So,
so there's another thing that falls into alignment with this electricity is some kind of something from the spirit world. It seems like, if they can light themselves up at will, it's got to be. Just seems like it's related to this whole
it's got to be
electricity energy
electric,
from the spirit world.
electromagnetic qualities in all shapes and forms. Because I mean, I literally, like, my hair used to stand straight up on it. I mean, seriously, like long hair standing straight up, like drain car batteries, drain flashlights. Um,
Yep.
and magnets have an effect on me as well. So it's really weird.
Interesting. Um, you know how I was telling you the story about how I think some entity had kind of like temporarily latched onto me from that one friend of mine from high school when I was at work for that week or two. Well,
Yeah.
during that week, some other things happened to me where, like, one time I was just going to work, reaching to my car door, and a lightning bolt, like 9 inches or so, it bolted out of my finger, and hit the car
Oh,
door,
wow.
and it hurt so bad on the tip of my middle finger.
Holy cow.
Um, and that week, yes, the same thing was happening to me.
That's crazy.
I was like super electrified. So,
Yeah. Was
you
it
know,
just for a short time?
it was just for like that week.
That's how mine was, like a week long thing. And
Really.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was it might have been when he returned to the house. See, he was gone for like a week or two.
Hmm.
That friend that I told you that had the witches in the family and stuff like that. It seems like right when he got back, it like left me again, and it is like probably back on him or something.
Wow.
And it that exact thing. Yeah, it didn't continue past that, but
Hmm.
I was totally electrified that week. And that makes me think of the another movie, that movie where there's like a spirit that's like hopping from one person to another.
Oh, yeah. Jumping bodies. What
Mm-hmm.
is that? That's not
Is
too
that
old.
12? Is that 12 Monkeys or
I don't think well, was it?
no?
No, it's not
No,
that, but
that's
it's
not
like
that.
that.
It's like from that same era.
I can't think of
Forgot what
it.
it's called, but it makes me think of that how
Yeah.
electricity has to have some conductor, and this thing has to like touch someone
Yep.
to transfer. I think it's somewhat related.
I
Um,
think you're right. Absolutely. That makes sense.
yeah,
It's
yeah, and I think that's possibly why there's the whole laying on hands and healing someone, right? Like you're
Yeah,
probably somewhat imparting your electrical force onto theirs,
that makes
or
sense.
or helping to discharge their overcharge, something like that.
You know what? I never thought of it like what you just put it, with the laying on hands, and it makes complete sense. And I told you how I could brush shoulders with someone and sometimes get a glimpse. I mean,
Yeah,
just walk by someone in an aisle and get a glimpse into, just depending on what, but sometimes past, sometimes future, sometimes present, or.
that's cool. That's super cool.
But I mean, that makes sense, like an exchange of energy, or like the ability to connect with that energy to some level. It sounds like what we're doing. I think it's probably something we could all do, tap into that electric energy field, maybe. Seems like it,
Yeah,
because I know, like, I can be thinking of something, well, like Candy said, I can be thinking of something, like, and make it happen, and that happens a lot with me. I'll be like, I need my mom to call me or whatever, I mean, literally, I could just, and it'll happen. And that's a simple one, where people's like, that's a coincidence, but I did it to you today. You're welcome. So I did, and it worked. No. So yeah, it does work. I don't know if you heard me, but that screaming. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I wasn't screaming. I was practicing though. I was like, need you to text me real quick. I'm gonna see if you want to come on tonight. And then we got
Oh,
talking about other things, but you did text, so
yeah, yeah.
it was crazy though. I'm like, I'm gonna chalk that one to the coincidence, but we'll see. No, I'm just kidding.
So
It
do you want?
happens a lot.
So do you want to talk about the flyover you got?
Yeah, right before. Speaking of, it seems like something always happens, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah, right before we were going to do this, I was coming in the door from getting gas and filling up my car for the morning, and I walked through the door and I put one load down. I was trying to load and unload certain equipment that I need, and all of a sudden I hear this loud noise over my house. And I mean, everyone that watches my channel knows I get the Black Hawks, or I get those a lot, but and then other helicopters and other planes. But this one was a big one, low flying, buzzed my house, and I mean, I have my arms full. I threw my stuff down, and my stupid phone was in my purse, and the purse was still in the car. So I grabbed my work phone, which is just a little iPhone, a little teeny one, like 13X, whatever it is. Don't even know. And it doesn't take very good quality. But I grabbed that and I went hauling butt out the door because it kept doing it. It was like, okay, I got to do this. I got to get it. Well, I missed it on the first time going out. So second time I missed it again. And the third time I went running out the door again because I still couldn't find my phone at the time, knowing it was in my purse. But caught the tail end of it. And this thing was just flying straight over the house. Loud engine. I mean, it was shaking the house. And I like get it just in time to see it circle around and go back and go to do it again. And it did go to do it again. And then right whenever I went to like, I was trying to mess with this, and I was all flustered, and you're like already there waiting, like, any day now. And I'm like, I won't believe it. Well, it started to happen again. Then all of a sudden the noise just cut off. Like, I mean, like dead air, you know, like planes don't just shut their engines off. But that's what just happened. But I mean, whenever I look at these, the ones, there are, of course, very real airplanes and very real helicopters, people. I'm not saying that every plane or drone or is, you know, them. But what I am telling you is, for me, the ones that harass me, I can almost, I would say 90% of the time when I video them, if you zoom in and you scrub it in slow motion, you can clearly see these black little orbs, or I think the guy that I was talking about, he calls them dragons because he thought they were dragonflies, I guess, initially when he saw them. I think dragon's a stupid name for them. But I mean, I call them just little compadres because they just come circling around these crafts, and the crafts have almost a cartoonish look to them whenever you video it. Not with your eyes, they look very, very real. But when you go and you video them and you look later, you'll see them glitch out. They glitch out. They'll just be there and they'll glitch and they'll shapeshift into like almost a animal looking thing, and then they come back. And so those are the ones that always has the little companions with them that the gentleman calls dragons. Again, I don't know what they are, but they are definitely present, especially when you see the Black Hawks or any type of military craft, which tells me they're probably not actually humans. The ones that have the little black things that shoot out of them and fly around are probably the ones that I see it in the night sky that shapeshift, and that they can present themselves as airplanes, light up the certain portions of their body to where it'll blink like it has two airplane wings, where a red light and a green light should be. I mean, it doesn't. And I showed you those pictures earlier today. But I mean, they do. And when you zoom all the way in and you capture a still shot, that's what they look like. And they shape shift into different forms, but a lot of times they're serpent type shape. Other times they're blob. They're like plasma almost, but they're living.
Okay. Yeah, you've just said a whole bunch of things that resonate with me. First of all, I've been calling them orbs since 2003 or 2 even.
Yeah.
So going back a long time ago for me, this is just a couple years outside of high school. One of the first like weird things I did was I became somewhat of like an orb hunter, is what I called myself.
Yeah, I have the yellow orbs all the time that I call orbs. Yeah.
And I think on one video of yours that you sent me today, it was one where there's like an orb, and you clear as day, you had it on the camera and you were saying it's coming at me, and you can see, oh my god, it's actually coming at her, it's getting bigger. And
yeah, it looks like they're far away, but they're actually in your face, like they're closer than they look.
And it had the typical very weird, like there's like an inner circle and there's like a
It's like a
rim.
nucleus.
Yep, exactly. And
Yeah.
sometimes I even call them, they've got like a Pac-Man mouth. Sometimes they
Yes.
have a notch. Um,
Like our
and so
stars do also.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit. This is weird. I mean, I started doing this when, like I said, I wasn't awake to almost anything when I did this. But I just borrowed my dad's digital camera. I remember it was a 3.2 megapixel Canon power shot, something, just a typical consumer camera, but it had a very powerful flash on it, and it was Halloween, one Halloween, obviously, and 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 I,
Really.
and I, and I thought, hey, I want to do something like really actually scary this Halloween, because
I
back in
love
those days,
Halloween. I hate to say it, but I did
well,
like it a lot.
yeah, back in those days, when I'm like
Yeah.
20, 21, whatever
Me
years
too.
old, I really liked horror movies and stuff
Yeah,
like
me
that.
too. I used to just watch everyone, which is why I've seen everyone. But yeah, I'm a little
It's
different now, but not
it's
a lot.
it's why I'm desensitized to so much of that kind of stuff today. Is
Yeah.
like, I mean, I was watching, just the most creepy, not just
Faces of
the
Death. I watched
not
Faces of
not
Death.
and not the like murder horror. I'm talking about like the spiritual horror, the real.
That's what I like, the sci-fi twist with the horror, right?
Okay, I totally get it. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I find this graveyard that was on some website that was claimed to be very haunted, and I actually remember this. It's the graveyard that's like right in the front left of St. John's Military Academy in Wisconsin. It's probably about an hour west of Milwaukee, and I went there with my sister, and a couple of her friends,
Mhm.
and just like a female friend of mine. And so it's just me and a bunch of girls, and we
There you
and
go.
it was the most creepiest. Oh my god, we got there and everyone's feeling like electrified and creepy, and one girl got like locked to the floor, so she couldn't like move for a few minutes.
Oh gosh.
uh, and she actually said that she's like being pushed down by something on her shoulders.
I know what she means too. I've felt that.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're like, haha, and she's like, not joking. It's like the most serious look on her face ever, right? And then everyone got even more scared, and then we kept going in because I'm like, we're going in. We're only here for this one time. It took like 40 minutes to drive here or whatever.
Right.
Um, and 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 I start taking pictures, and I got the creepiest stuff. I got like big hands coming up out of the ground, like big, um,
Claw looking, brownish
yeah,
with
yeah,
nails.
long hand, long finger, weird stuff coming up out of the ground, and a bunch of orbs. And people actually ended up seeing orbs with their naked eyes,
Yeah.
flying from treetop to treetop. Um,
And that's not
almost,
usual that you see those with the naked eye.
yeah, and
Oh, hi cat.
it seems like some of them were, I don't know, like more powerful, and those are, or I don't know what, like we could see some of them, but
Have
some of
more
them,
energetic qualities to them, right?
mhm, yeah, but some of them definitely did come out only when I took a picture with this Canon
Yeah.
camera with the built-in flash. And no,
I got one of those.
this is not like dust. No, this is not
Yeah,
whatever.
not particulates of something. Yeah,
No,
I know what you
no,
mean.
this is something like clearly there's a mass 30 feet away, very
Mhm.
specific shape. And what was very strange is there was a specific grave, or sorry, like a headstone that was um, walled off with its own iron gate. So obviously some wealthy dead dude. um,
Right, yeah. Well,
and,
Freemason probably.
and get this, his name, I still remember. It was, okay, I don't remember exactly, but it was either Redman or Redfield, something like that. And I mean,
Interesting.
you could probably go there to this day. Again, this is just outside St. John's Military Academy. It was red something, and it's the one headstone that's iron gated off by itself, maybe like an eight by eight iron gate. And coincidentally, right inside of that, like right above his headstone, I got a dark blood red orb.
Ooh.
Now, is that I had, that's the
Yeah,
only
and
time.
his name was Red.
And his name was Redfield or Red something. Yeah. And
Yeah, there's a
that just,
connection.
it just cannot be a coincidence.
No, that's real. I've never seen a red, like a bright red orb either.
Yep.
I've seen orange and rust colored.
That was the only time that I'd
Wow.
gotten a solid red orb. Usually they're obviously whitish or some kind of a gold or yellow, but a lot
Yeah.
of white.
Yeah.
And I'm just, for anyone watching this, I'm a legit photographer. I can tell you everything about photography. Period. I could teach it to anyone.
I do graduation pictures and prom, but I need to learn a lot about my cameras, so maybe you can help me out.
Yep, totally. I have like, trying to think, maybe
I
like,
love photography, so that's one of my diehard. I love it. Love it.
I have like $25,000 in camera gear, and I'm not talking like
Dang.
legacy stuff. I've got like seriously new stuff that people are like dying to
Wow.
get. Like I'm surrounded by camera gear right here.
Wow, I'm jealous because I love cameras. I collect them, both antiques, as much as I can get my hands on these days. But
And yeah, and it
that's
was
awesome.
and it was the orb hunting that really it goes back to that. I got stuck on cameras all the way back when,
Inspires you
and
to do it.
you know what's crazy is I still miss that first one that, it probably cost my dad like $200, and I want to go back and like rebuy it because it had some special property. It was like a legit ghost hunting camera.
Yeah, they don't make them like that, and I think purposely that because it's amazing what your older cameras can still capture versus what we have now.
It
The
was
modern
yeah,
digital is not the same.
it was a different type of sensor technology. It was CCD versus CMOS that we have right now.
I have no idea, but that sounds really good
It
and
just totally
very
different tech, and
professional.
yeah, totally different tech, and yeah, I just think it got. That movie 13 Ghosts? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. How they had that tech, those glasses to see. I really do think stuff like that
Yeah.
is
But that other
possible.
movie that's you have to have the Walking Dead or whatever. You know which one? It's an older movie, but where they put the glasses on and they could see what they really look like in real life.
I don't think I've seen that one. You'll have to link me to that.
It's an old one. Like everyone's been talking about it lately too, and I saw it like years ago. But I think it was who was in that? Come on, guys, help me out here, y'all in the chat group. What was the name of that?
You got to tell me about that because I
mean, literally, they put the glasses on, they could see the dead. Like the evil ones. So.
No, yeah. The only thing with that theme I can think of is 13 Ghosts. So I really want to see what you're talking about. Oh, They Live that's not.
Thank you.
Okay. Those
Kat.
It's the aliens. Yeah, I mean it's not the.
Yeah, no,
I mean, yeah,
but
it's exactly what you're saying.
I thought that was just like because honestly, kind of like the technology, it does.
It is the same. It's exactly the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course I've seen that movie. I mean, of
yeah,
course
I was like,
I'm
trying to think of it, but I mean, it was not even the same concept that we're on. But I was just thinking of the glasses. I'm like, I want a pair of those. No, sometimes I don't. But I mean, I don't even need the glasses anymore. That's the sad part because I didn't start out to where I could see everything. It's just that now I just can. But I've also learned how to kind of shut it down when I need to also, if that makes sense, kind of subconsciously or consciously, actually.
Interesting.
So, I mean, to where it's not as blatant, but it's just basically just paying it no mind or trying to pay it less mind. It's just helpful sometimes.
Yeah, there was definitely something better with those older cameras for just like actually capturing what was really there, in the spirit world. Because I go back to probably the first time I used any digital camera. It was a couple years before this camera that my dad had. So this is probably like 1997 or 8. And I remember that's when digital cameras were like just a thing where you could actually acquire one for a couple $100 that took a kind of crappy picture, but it worked. I remember a bunch of uncles and my mom went in together and got my grandma one, and it was I think a Kodak, and
I think I have one of those.
Yeah, they were so. I mean, it's the picture quality is so low resolution. Barely probably 1 megapixel, but
Yeah.
it could take like only a couple dozen pictures on the memory card it came with.
Yeah, no, that
But
I think I have that over in my little display case.
but this is what got me actually on orbs is that first camera way back in the late 90s was I was just playing around with it at my grandma's house when she got it, and I was taking a picture of my grandma in the. I was just not even like an intentional picture, just literally clicking around, seeing what I could get, seeing what the flash would do, and I think I had just turned the flash on, and I got an orb that was so big, and I don't know what to say. It was a mass. You couldn't even see through it. It was the
All
nasty
stuck
looking.
together, like a whole bunch of them in one.
It was like a big wad of them. It was multicolored and
Yeah,
not transparent. It was
not
something like
trans. I know
solid.
I've had the multicolored ones. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep,
Much
it was.
larger.
That's it. It was big. It was like the size
Yeah,
of and it was only a couple feet in front of me. It's like I could see exactly where it was.
like
Um,
3-4 foot wide. Some like the one I saw was.
no, this one was about 2 times the size of a basketball, so maybe like 18 inches
Well, this one
diameter.
was like in my face. It could have been that, but yeah. I
Okay.
don't know. I just remember it very large and not the same as the others,
Yep.
like in
So that make
colors, but
so
clusters of it.
yeah, I remember showing my dad, showing my grandma, like, what is this thing? And oh, and I'm pretty sure it had the Pac-Man notch in it too.
That's really strange that you say that because I swear I zoom in with the camera I have, and that's what I see in the stars. They look just like they are the Pac-Mans that I see in the orbs.
Yeah, and we could have Pac-Man as a thing today because it's derived from this.
Makes so much
Um,
sense.
I mean, think about what Pac-Man does. He's going around and you're
Eating
trying to get
ghosts.
you're trying to get him to eat ghosts. Yep.
Yeah.
Uh, Not a
Dang.
coincidence. Not a
No,
coincidence.
that's a good call. Wow.
Yep. There's something to it. The
Yeah.
fact that we're seeing this Pac-Man thing, it's who knows? These might be literally the things that
For real. That's
gobble up your soul after I'm just being crazy and you're thinking out of the
no. I
box
mean,
here, but
there's truth that they put that truth, that little bit of truth in everything, if not a lot of it. And you're right. That was a good call. That
these
was
could be
really
the things
actually
that gobble up soul
souls.
energy after everything with a
And then
soul
they power
dies.
up when they, eat certain ones. So when I grow up, I'm going to be Pac-Man. No, I'm just kidding. But
It could
wow,
be.
that's a good call.
Yeah. And then I think about the, here's just something related. I think about the anime called Death Note. Have you ever gotten into anime? And
I have not gotten into it, but I've had to keep myself from doing it because when I get involved, I get involved. So
oh,
I tend to just
you
not.
can spend infinite time on because
Mhm.
it's such great artistic work.
I
Truly.
love that. That's why I purposely try to.
Yep. Anyway, there's this one called Death Note. It's oh my god, actually you have to watch it now that I'm
Now I'm going to be hooked.
because it's about a master PI and and uh and he's like trying to basically catch the main character. It's so good.
So he's
And it's
like
not
me. No, I'm just kidding.
and it's not that long. It doesn't go on and on and on for countless episodes. But anyway, in this anime, there's this ghost that only the main character can see, and coincidentally, he's eating nothing but apples. So again, just another possible connection to this ghost and the Pac-Man, and he's eating apples. Well, what is the Pac-Man going after? He's trying to get the cherries and apples and
The
stuff, right? Or
ghosts and the cherries and the lemons or something like
something
that.
like that. Yeah, I know it's at least cherries. Yeah.
Mr. Avatar says night vision goggles started with the red light vision and used during Vietnam. And actually, yeah, he's right. Soldiers started shooting each other. That was the. So I just recently delved into this, Mr. Avatar. By the way, I need you to meet Mr. Avatar someday. Just one-on-one because you guys are exactly alike in so
Oh yeah.
many ways. And you even have similar names, and I'll go into that later.
I was gonna say the Mr. That's a cool name.
Yeah, and that's not even what I'm talking about. So,
Okay.
but literally, like, yeah, no, I mean, I am, but I'm not. Like, you'll get it when I tell you later. I just am
Okay.
keeping him private there, but you guys would really get on really well. And he's like, he just does some amazing things, like you do with computers. He does with like developing things and making like things that are really needed these days. So,
Cool.
I mean, definitely a person you need to meet.
I think I have heard about that before, but I probably forgot about it. The whole thing about the first generation eye goggles.
I
Yeah.
actually started a video I'm making in process right now on that. With the Meta, oh gosh, it's the blue dye. It was a blue dye that they used. I actually have it right here, so hold on. So basically what I'm getting at with what he just said, with what, they were shooting each other down, right, in the war because of the night vision.
Yeah.
Well, somehow I found a connection between that, which is methyl. What is the name of it? I gotta find this here, but okay, so methyl. It's right here. Long story short, I found a connection with the possibility of as to why some of us might be seeing more than others what we do and what they can't. I'll have to like find it and tell you about a whole nother podcast, but.
Okay.
And yeah, Mr. Avatar, I got to tell you about that too, because it's bizarre. It's bizarre, and it definitely connects. It makes sense. So it's too deep right now, too deep for you and me, and I'm just not going to go there right now. So, but I was going to ask you what your thought was, Eric, as far as what you think about why certain people are waking up and some aren't, and do you think that more will wake up, or do you think that this is just a trial? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I've got lots of thoughts on this.
The more the merrier. We need to hear them.
Including like big, partially heretical thoughts from the perspective of a churchy's Christian, and that would be like we're here multiple times to try to finally cross some spiritual finish line. Like, I mean, I realize that's like super heretical, but I'm just open to any possibility. I'm just thinking way outside the box, right? But the first thing that came to mind was simply free will. So it was just simply free will. We as man and women here on earth, I have thought a lot about this, and I've come to the conclusion that we are the only creations in the physical reality that can break determinism. Are you familiar with that term?
Determinism meaning ego? Is it the same?
No, it's kind of like a whole philosophy that a lot of people will claim that is like partially the basis of their worldview, and that is of how all things are set in motion and and basically like guided by the rules of creation, and that nothing can be done to change the
outcome,
the events, the events that are going to happen, and what decisions you're going to make, and how those decisions will pan out, and what the cause effect, and basically it's the philosophy or life view that everything is just
already written,
just a chain of cause and effect that will happen, period.
Okay.
I've come to my current conclusion that we are the only things here that can break determinism or like hard cause and effect. In other words, like you drop a glass onto the cement floor and it's going to break. Like that's like period. Like it's going to happen. It's part of the rules.
Inevitable.
It's part of the rules, and it must happen 100% of the time.
Physics.
but we can choose, and of course that's why
Free will. That's right.
another Matrix reference, which we're going to have lots of as we talk. The problem is choice, as Morpheus says, right? And we are the only things here. I'm not saying we're a thing, but the only pieces of
Living electrical
physical,
beings.
yeah,
Yeah.
the only things here that have a ability to make decisions
The
that
free
are
will. That's the biblical
free
portion where the
will.
free will comes into play, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I always try to biblically relate things, but I see the Bible on a whole different level and very different than what I did before. So,
Me too. I've also transitioned from Christianese to I
yes.
don't know what you call it. Just
I don't believe in religion, period, right? So now I don't. I think it's just a knowing or I don't even know. What do you call that, Eric? What are we?
what are we?
Yeah, how would you put that into word? Because it's not like
Oh,
I
like
don't
what
believe
would
in
you
myself
say?
as a religious follower of, I believe in a 100% in what was written. And I
Yeah,
think it's been taken out of context on so many levels, but I mean, in a most literal way,
I
it is in so many others.
I might just take a real broad stab at that and say I'm just trying to be a complete man with okay, so I take this thinking where like how many legs does a table need to actually stand up at minimum? Not
Well,
two,
if we're going with physics, we know what it needs ultimately to,
three.
but well, no, two, because if their width is wide enough, it could still stand, right?
Well, I mean like a big round table.
Oh yeah, no, I mean you
You
ultimately
need
have to you can do a tripod type
at
situation.
minimum you need the three legs, right? So
Sure.
so I consider that to be like our mind, body, spirit. Mind, body, soul, right?
Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. And so and then of course we're here to do work, workers of the field, right? And what do you do work at? Well, I do work at a table. So I have been thinking, well, okay, well if I want a worker's table, a workbench, um, like a carpenter, um, I need at least three legs, and they all need to be the same length for that table to be even, right? So I consider that the mind, the body, and the soul, or the spirit.
Makes sense because it's an equivalent factor there.
Yep. And so when I'm telling people like what I am now or what I believe now, I just say, um, well, religion is a scam. So I'm not going to claim to fly the banner of any religion. In fact, I believe the word
There you
that,
go. That's what I was looking for.
so I
It's
believe
man made.
I think the word etymologically itself breaks down to mean, what is it? Religion. It's got some kind of sharing of the root word with like relegate or something, like, how you're like delegating off your
It's a
responsibility.
structure for sure, though, to it. But so, like the indoctrination type
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
educate.
you're
Okay,
like giving up your responsibility to some other entity. You're relegating
somebody else
your
told me what to do.
yeah, that kind of exactly. So I mean, that is just an eternal fact. You cannot knee jerk deny that. Religion is an evil thing. Um,
Yes.
period. Um,
Know thyself, Mr. Avatar said when experimental realist, he said Jesus said, know thyself. Did you see that?
yeah, I'm thinking about that. Yeah, experimental realist. Yeah, I'm just someone on the journey of life.
Yeah.
Um,
So
real.
spiritual, there a lot of people say they're spiritual, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I want
yeah.
to think we all are to that respect. So I totally get what you're saying, but I'm glad you answered it like that, that you're not trying to be a religion of structure of what man has decided. And you explained that perfectly well, especially when you just said, I'm trying to be a man, what a man is, like
Just
a
trying
real
to be
man,
a complete
complete.
man.
Yeah.
And that's
What,
with
what
the
we were asked to
three
be.
and that's with the three equal height legs, equal strength legs, mind, body, spirit.
That was very
Uh,
well put. Like
and
that.
then you've got a table that you can set up and do work while you're here. You
Yes.
know, too many people are keeping that spirit leg, you know, barely off the ground because
Tucked.
they're going to church and they go to feel good and buy some Starbucks coffee at the entrance now, and you know
Yeah.
all the stupid things that people do, and then they probably get drunk that night.
And then they
And
go back to wagging their finger the next day at somebody else,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
why I steer clear of it. Well, just one of the many reasons, but
and and honestly now also, so many years into my transition, yes, I was just saying like I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, you know, years ago, but
yeah,
now but
it's
now
different
I
even.
but now I even have transitioned away from that. I mean, yes, that is
Yeah.
still legit, but now I've even transitioned away from that because someone could take
I
that
did
at
because it's a thing now, so I don't want to be what anyone else is saying to be. Right?
exactly. It's
Yeah, I'm
another.
like if you tell me one thing, I'm gonna do the opposite. I've always been like
Oh
that.
my god, dude, you're like my sister slash
So
clone.
bad.
That's exactly. Yep.
But I mean, it's not even for that reason. It's just like to me, it's logical that they call it black sheep for a reason. Because I mean, we know that herds go in herds, right? The
Yep.
black sheep's the one that's just, probably in a lot of mischief, but definitely the one that's going to find more adventure and probably the truth by going the separate way and the separate
Yep.
route. And paths are different, but my path I wouldn't even call a path. I just call it like path by default or whatever. I mean, I just don't like your typical structured indoctrination
So
to be somebody.
so I can tell you one reason why we jive, why we're buddies now after just knowing each other for a couple of days. Have you ever heard of the personality type or whatever you call it of a Sigma?
Uh-uh.
It's a quite an entertaining thing to YouTube search, the Sigma male or the Sigma female, right?
Huh.
It's the whole idea of like, say like you've got it's like a pack of wolves, right?
Yeah.
And there's people say there's the alpha wolf, and then there's the beta wolves, the followers, right? And the
Right.
alpha is like leading by um physical dominance, or you know, physical threats of
Strength and
violence, right?
yeah.
And then there's the one in the pack that doesn't fit in.
The one.
He's well, yeah, the one, right? The Neo reference, obviously.
Yeah, or the main leg, or yeah. I mean, I was all of those, so
And so Neo in the Matrix is referred to as the anomaly, right? So he's the Sigma, really, in that movie, and he's the
anomaly. I like
one
that.
because it's one per pack that's just weird. You're just born different. Just some
Never fit
meth
in ever, not
so
even once.
some mathematical unbalanced eventuality of an equation, right? That's
Guilty as
yeah,
charged.
yeah, that's you and that's me, and
I mean, I
it's
was bullied in school so bad, you have no idea.
both.
And I never could
Yep.
figure out why you. And it's like, what I do, I'm just different. That's all. But
Oh my
it didn't
god,
bother
dude.
me.
I can't believe you're saying everything you say. It's like, geez, like me too. That's
I think
um
it doesn't seem like it seems like a lot. Well, no, I've met some people that are awake that were popular or not bullied. Or I mean, it's not even about that. I mean, yeah, I was bullied bad. Like I was rolled in the snow, dumped in trash cans, and I mean, I always got up still trying to like make sense. Like I'm, it's okay though. You don't have to be mad at me. I didn't do anything. They're like, well, we just don't like it. We're gonna put our pencils in your eyes and use them as like a pencil sharpener because your eyes are uglier. You know, and I'm just like, what did I do? But the thing is, I'm glad that happened to me because had it been anyone else, they could never have handled what I went through. And still today with like more gallons, it seems like all the bad things that should happen to people or shouldn't happen to people, anyone. I guess I'm glad that happened to me because there are some people that could not handle it. They couldn't, and I wouldn't want them to have to.
yeah.
So, I mean,
Wow, that's amazing you say all that. I feel like the same thing is my journey as well. The bullied constantly. I mean, luckily not so bad because I wasn't. I mean, I'll be real frank.
yeah,
I wasn't the fat kid, so I didn't get that whole
yeah, I
like
wasn't.
attack.
Yeah, there was nothing other than I thought differently. Right.
That's why too, is yeah, where the sigmas, where the oh, and you even see it if you have chickens. There's always like the one chicken that's like, you can tell they're like thinking more than the other ones. They're going off and experimenting more than the other ones. They're going off and
Turkeys and chickens. I raised turkeys and chickens with my ex-husband. His family did for Butterball and Tyson. And you are
oh wow,
so right.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
There's this in all uh
Wow.
it might be just a thing that the architect in the Matrix was actually talking about. It might be a mathematical guarantee with the design of reality, that just within the pool of all species, there's
Right.
the physical dominating, like clear, like day-to-day leader, and then the majority are followers. But then there's the one that's scouting out for problems, the one that's going to be up on the wall watching, calling down. That's why I'm Eric the Watcher, right? I'm
Yeah,
looking out for
that's
trouble and
exactly right. Warning,
trying,
warning.
warning the pack,
Yeah.
that there's danger ahead. Where the stupid alpha and the stupid beta, they don't see it because that's not their role,
No,
right?
no. Yeah. It is. It's a pecking order for sure, though. You're right. But I mean,
Yeah,
it's almost like it's not really even an order. It's just like you got followers and you got leaders, and and observers, I guess. But I don't know.
yeah.
I bet you thought like me too, though, right? When you were younger, did you not just ever watch people and wonder why they were doing what they're doing, or what happened at home maybe that made them act like that? Or that's how I was. I always
That's
thought that
all I was doing.
tried
I
to
was
figure
just
them out, like what's making them tick?
I was
What's
just thinking. Totally same thing
yeah,
here.
all the time. Never stop thinking. Just always wondering like what's affecting them or what's not
Yep,
affecting them. What are they lacking? What are they needing? What do they have? You know? Yeah.
yep, yeah. I had such a not really an overactive imagination, but I had such an imagination,
Oh, me too. Yeah.
that many times, despite literally testing off the charts for everything in elementary school, um, many times some
Sounds
teachers
like it.
thought I was like retarded or something, because
Yeah.
I was staring at the ceiling, and then I would
Before
activate my
autism had a thing or
what
ADHD, right?
yeah
I got in trouble. They called me a daydreamer because I was always looking at the ceiling. And
stop
my
it,
mom had to
you
go in and
keep
talk to
doing
my
it,
teacher
you keep
so
doing
many
it, you
times.
just you're just, that's me, that's what they said.
I was a
They say,
daydreamer, and that my
I
mom would
was,
be mad.
they said I was dangerously daydreaming. I
Me
and I
too.
and I would go into this like real daydream. I mean, like a physical
I was
daydream
there. I know what you're talking
where
about.
I had the daydream vision, I had the daydream
Like you were there in
audio,
person. Yes.
and the teacher could be standing right in front of me shouting my name,
I was picked
Eric,
up by my
Eric.
suspenders and shook.
Are you I've never met
Dead
anyone else that had
serious.
this
She picked
happen.
me up and shook me like that. I mean,
You
I was just
know,
like, what did I do? I didn't even know
I
I was
can't even
doing
believe
it.
this. I've never heard anyone explain the same exact childhood.
Not even, no joke at all. And my mom would be called in. She'd like, Lisa, you've got to stop. I'm like, I didn't even know I was doing it. I just went elsewhere. I went to my own, and it was real. But I
I
mean, my
had
teachers were like, she's smart, but she can't do the simple things. And it's like, because you're boring. Like everything
same
you're
thing.
teaching me is not true or boring. I knew
Oh
it.
my
I was
god.
just like, so boring.
Unbelievable. Same
Yeah.
exact thing here. They
It
tried
was
to
crazy.
they tried to I don't know, like they tried to keep me back, but then they would like test
And
me
I
or
knew I was
whatever,
smart too, you
and
know?
they'd be like, "Holy shit, he's wait, he's actually the smartest one in the entire
Yeah.
school, not just this
You could
grade."
test off the charts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what I trust me. But yet, I mean, I was they were back in the day, it was C's and F's or U's for unsatisfactory, whatever it
Yes.
was then.
Same here.
And I was not because I mean, I was bright. In fact, like I said, I found what they were teaching quite boring and a
Yeah.
lot of it just not believable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I was so smart, and I look back now, I'm like, I know I was, because I was thinking about things that those little kids couldn't have even fathomed at a young age of 5, you know?
Well,
So
I mean,
that's
this
bizarre.
yeah, and why are we like that? Is it this
That's what I want to
anomaly?
know.
is it this anomaly of a species that
Is it a blood
certain
type?
of us? Hey, I've got the blood type of the typical alien
O
abductee.
positive?
O negative.
Okay, so
Uh,
so here's okay, so a lot of people have the O negative. I don't think I do. I mean, I was told I had O positive, but a lot of people that I've encountered have that O negative, like you're saying.
yeah, yeah,
Hey, Mr. Avatar, Cat, you guys, what do you guys have blood type? I'm just curious.
yeah.
You know,
Everyone put your blood types in the thing.
I
It's
really
fun.
would like to know. I mean,
It's fun to find out about that stuff
but
and then find
I know that an O positive or two O positives can make an O negative.
really.
So, per se, I have an O negative daughter. So,
Okay, cool.
there you go.
She's gonna be
So,
taken by.
it
She's
doesn't
gonna be
make
taken
sense.
into the sky one day, and
Yeah, or like, but I mean, that's still my blood, right? Because two positive cancel out, and that can make a negative. Now, however, an O negative and an O positive cannot have an O negative. It's
okay.
impossible. So
Honestly, honestly, I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's
I
interesting
delved
to
into that pretty good.
hear about that stuff, and I like the fact that the what is it, the Japanese, they put that kind of stuff on their resumes for jobs.
They
They
asked for a
list
reason.
blood type, they list
Mhm.
their zodiac type of stuff. I don't know what they call it over there, but it actually has an impact
Yeah.
on us, and that's why I go back to saying, I'm kind of further fleshing out this theory of mine that we in some way are formed by the the location and dates of our birth here. uh
I think it is relevant because sometimes this is so dead on, right?
it's so dead on, it's
It's crazy, and I never
ridiculous.
wanted to believe because I was told, "Oh, Satan, no, 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 don't do that." But I mean,
Yeah,
my curiosity, I always look at everything. When they say
yeah,
don't do it, I do it. It's just what I
totally.
do.
Now
Don't
I
do
do
that,
that.
but I'm going to do it. So, but
Totally.
it's crazy, and there is definitely something in numeric values, zeros and ones. I think the Matrix is based off of all of that. It's
Yep.
if you think about it, I mean, it's everywhere. It is
Yeah.
all around us.
I pick up a what do names mean book, and I go to Eric, and it's like, oh my god, that's exactly me.
Lisa, yeah. Oh,
I
yeah. I know. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing I've noticed. Like Eric, Lisa, Michael, there's Rachel. Those are all very, very strong Hebrew names, what they say. But I mean, the
Okay.
meanings are like so dead on with the name and
My meaning is dead on. It's like eternal ruler or something like that. Like
something
the
like yeah,
my name is the king is what it comes down to.
yeah.
And then I look up
I don't
Leo,
think mine said I was the king. I'm not gonna lie. No, I'm
and
just
then
kidding. She who walks with God is what mine was. So
okay, and then I look up, and then I'm a Leo, and I'm like, that's the king. That's
that is true. I'm a Cancer, so I have no idea. Still, I'm trying to figure that one out. I don't really know the sign thing, like what mixes, what doesn't.
yeah. There's something to this. I'm not all addicted
Yeah,
to it or
but it does
anything. It's
make
just
sense.
like, geez, that is so interesting. How is that so? So here's a story. Okay, here's an interesting story. Everyone's gonna like this. So I when I was like 24-ish, I was kind of between things. I hadn't fully solidified myself in the software engineer world yet. So I was a couple of years away from that, or just 2 years away. But I was working these cell phone jobs. It was like during the boom of cell phones, early 2000s. And I was just sitting there one day at I think the Singular Wireless, back when that was a thing, and I just started drawing on myself with a
Right about
pen.
that.
Yeah, I just started drawing on my forearm with a pen. I was making
I used to do that all the time. Period.
making some designs, whatever came into mind, and I started drawing this design that was very specific. It almost, I thought, wow, this actually looks like it's something like, and
Oh, please. Okay, go on.
so I kept on drawing it more in more and more detail. First, I drew it pretty rough, and then the next one I drew more detailed, and then eventually it got to looking like, wow, that's something badass looking, right? And then eventually, my girlfriend at the time, I actually had it tattooed on her for real.
I have it tattooed on me right now. If it's the same thing, I'm gonna die.
Oh, I'm gonna die. Yeah. Anyway, so So years go by. Back then I wasn't awake to anything. I was a regular zombie sleeping turd, just like all the NPCs out there. So years and years go by. I wake up to everything. 2012 starts creeping up, and of course I start reading about the um what is it, what's that old culture, oh my god, 2012, the Mayans. So I start reading about the Mayans, and I start learning about their 20 base numbering system, and their equivalent of the zodiac. I'm like, oh wow, they
I have
have
a
like
bunch
they're
of
like
Mayan artifacts right here in my house. Probably
cool.
doesn't help.
Yeah, they had a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And one of them was their equivalent of like our Leo and that kind of stuff. And they had it's like a star sign, something like the day sign and the moon. They've got like 2 or 3 signs, and I find out I'm like a 7 Lamat, which is a rabbit.
Backwards, right?
And
Backwards 7?
no, I think it's just the number 7, and then that
Oh,
might
okay.
have like a logo as well. But then the other thing is a rabbit, Lamat or whatever, and these things have very specific symbols that are carved onto square stones. And when I saw, I think it's the Lamat, or it might be very specifically the 7 Lam. I'm gonna look it up right now. 7 Lamat. It is
I'll
so
look it up for you.
specific. Yep, it's right there. The Lamat, Lamat. So I am that, and if everyone goes and looks up the Mayan Lamat, Lamat, this is exactly what I was drawing. I was drawing this like star thing where it's like a star shape in the center that went out in 4 different directions, and then I drew a solid moon on top, uh, like an empty moon, like an empty circle at the bottom, and 2 crescent moons at the sides. And I also drew stars inside of it, and like a dog-shaped star. But anyway, the basic shape of what I was drawing was exactly that, the Lamat. I literally started drawing that exact same thing over and over and over. And I had never encountered anything like this before. I was a typical playing video games idiot.
Okay. What I have on me is a little bit different, and mine like what looks more like Hebrew, but it is a lot the same concept. But this is the Mayan Lamont right here, right?
Yep. I started
So
drawing a variation of that, but clearly that.
yeah,
So
that's got a lot of. Look at how you
wow.
have your moon and your star meaning there too.
And some of the other ones are, wow, it's so similar to what I was drawing. It's truly creepy. Anyway, this all that to say is that is a part of some evidence to conclude that we are in some way kind of like an eventuality of us being born here. Like it greatly affects us, and I don't know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, but
every
we
bit of
are
the
we
time,
are
the day,
yeah
the
we
hour.
yeah we are partly the time and date that we arrive.
Wow.
And what's very interesting too is with their culture, they knew what you were going to do. Like they knew what you were. I think Lamont means like rabbit. Yeah. Um, Someone asked that.
Speed rabbit.
They anyway, their culture, they knew what you were going to do, and guess what? My role was architect.
What?
So what I
Really?
the thing I was doing in high school, other than programming, was architectural design. I was planning on being a literal house
Oh
architect.
wow. That's
Um,
bizarre.
yep. So I was either going to be an actual draftsman architect, or I actually call myself a software architect today. So again,
You need to meet Mr. Avatar.
okay, um,
What is
yeah.
this?
So it's just too much, to completely blow off this stuff.
Yeah, for real.
Um,
Yeah, there's definitely got to be some connections for sure. You are definitely. I mean, I'm definitely, without a doubt, I know this because I see it daily more and more too. It's making more sense with people and even how they connect with each other. Um, I wish I knew more about it though. That's another whole. I wish I had several lifetimes to learn a lot of this, a lot more.
Y- and
Got so
here's
much to learn.
an interesting thought too. Is this kind of system where we kind of like are based on in some way when we're born, where we're born. Maybe that whole thing exists just to keep the mixture of different types of people here
Yeah, yin and yang. You got to have
consistent.
one and the other, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like you keep
Gotta have balance.
keep cranking on the machine, and it's like, oh, there goes a red one, pop, 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 pop. Oh, there goes another red one, pop, and then every once in a while, oh, there comes out a black one, or pop. Every 10th one is black.
Sounds like a slot machine to me. I'm just
It's
kidding.
it might
Random.
be it might be that the machine of this reality, and I do say that, yeah, that
You have to have your
there
balance,
was.
so it makes sense.
Hmm.
You do.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That's an interesting way to put that. That's actually definitely some things to ponder. There's a lot to ponder. I think there's so much that we, especially the deciphering movies and decoding movies, and I think that there's so much that they already told us, and the answers are clearly there, probably, as you probably are well aware because you're really good at that. But just like what you said, though, even in numbers, I see, and I'm big into ancient cultures, and if you look at the text, their style of writing and their architectural designs, from one end of the earth to the other, no matter how far apart they were, especially so being none knowing the other, according to our narrative in history, right? But yet these architectural designs are so uncanny similar, if not exact. It's unbelievable with the columns or Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
There's something to even the architectural design in our world that we don't even realize. There's meaning in those columns. There's meaning in, I think the earth was designed and structured by the fallen or the ancient or the Anunnaki or whatever people want to call them. It to me looks like a circuit board. I get on Google Earth all the time. I look down and I see a circuit board, especially if you look at your old star forts, and a lot of them
Yep.
have those key notches or keyholes. But I mean, it looks like it was made to be a circuit board. I believe that they had the old waterfalls, and how everything had a waterfall or some sort of a moat. I believe that was used to conduct electricity and electrify the town. I mean, there's so many things that I'm catching that I'm like, how did I not see this? And I mean, I'm serious when I say it's shaped like a circuit board, or it was. But if you look at every city and town, the way it's set up on these grids, right?
Yep.
They're still kind of doing the same concept, but there you got to make bank too. But I mean, to me, that never made sense. Like they're just doing this because they want to make money on oil and gas. I'm like, come on, if we're dealing with Satan, he's already knows how to do it. He doesn't really need our money to do that. So there's got to be another motive there. Or maybe they just don't know how. I don't know, but there's so much. And my mind could go for ever and ever and ever trying to figure this out. But I just know that Google Earth is my friend, and the way I see it and the way these buildings were built and structured, how they talk about like those buildings, how they didn't have bathrooms and stuff. I don't think they were for living in. I think they were machines. I think the pyramids are machines.
Okay.
I really do. So
I've definitely delved pretty far into this topic.
Have you?
The whole mud flood thing, and it might.
It's a little different than that, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I just mean the more the ancient buildings, the star forts.
Yeah.
The,
Oh, yeah.
like
I went way too far in that.
the impossible architecture, people call it.
I think it's connected, but
My sister and I think are on the same page right now. We recently did a lot of research in that area, and our current, I just like to say my current conclusion. I don't like to say like this is
changes
definitely
for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I say my current conclusion is that if it is true that Jesus returned in 70 AD, like you can see in the Bible, he claims it was going to happen, and people there were going to see him anyway. If that is true, and this millennial reign already happened,
We already happened, and we're living in the other times. Yep.
then we're living in the aftermath of this glorious, great, it might not have
I'm
been a
right there with
literal
you.
1,000 years, but it could have been a couple hundred or whatever. But anyway, it could have been that there was these people that didn't need to poop in toilets and all that stuff. And so
Yeah, I mean,
they
that
didn't
very
build
well could
bathrooms.
be. Yeah.
And so that could explain these,
I
this
totally agree,
impossible
but they just are
architecture.
set up like conductors, or like circuit
Well, and that
boards.
is true too. But you know
That's what's
what?
weird for me.
They could have just during that Jesus' reign, they literally could have just known about all of that technology and maybe just built that into their buildings, and that
Right.
acted as both buildings
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
healing centers and everything, like all in one, maybe.
I think they fulfilled it was like a service for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that totally makes sense to me. And I've teetered with on the edge, going back and forth with so many things, but it's just like the more I go along, I don't think they were like us. I don't think
Nope.
beings that were anything like us. I'm obviously
Yep.
they weren't. We find skulls all over the world that don't look anything like ours.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
they were very different.
It
They
was
were
probably the people that were
real.
building these and knowing about all the heavenly technologies. The pinnacle of physical reality technology is clearly not something that's going to be destructive to this reality. It's something that's going to be working with it and exploiting things safely.
Yeah.
And that is, that's the star forts. That's the impossible architecture. That's these giant conductors, like you're talking about, the giant domes,
Yeah.
which like heal people. I was just listening to who was it? It was
Look at the
it's
coastline and find them everywhere.
yep. Yeah, and it might have been all from this millennial reign. Could have
Yeah,
been
I think so. I mean,
I re-
definitely.
I'm so certain on that. I think it's going to take me a long time to uproot that as my current
Yeah,
conclusion.
that's been one of my goals is to try to figure it out. I've been on that topic for a long time, and I've never been real big into the mud flood theory because to me, like debris builds up no matter what over time, right? People do build basements too. I mean, it's possible, but I mean, I see melted buildings everywhere, which they aren't buried. I think it's more like a directed energy weapon, is what I see. So,
You know what's
speaking of
interesting?
electronic harassment,
You know what's interesting about the whole mud flood thing? Well, I think about I don't know the exact verse to reference right now, but I'll hit you up with it later. It's talking about how when Satan is, I forgot if it's like when he's let loose after the rain or something like that, how he attacks the remnant with a flood. But
yeah,
the Bible says the earth helps the woman, referring to the believers, by basically swallowing up the flood. So I'm thinking, wait. The Bible says the earth comes to help. It's a flood. Well, that makes mud. So what if at the
yeah,
end of the rain, Satan blasts out his own version of the flood, like he likes to do, and copy what
absolutely.
God does. But
Well, I
then
think
the
there was
earth
multiple.
helps, and I'm thinking, oh my, yeah, is that the whole mud flood thing? And is that why we've got just the tops of these buildings all across the world?
And it's not just it's in some place to me, like geographically, depending on where it's located. Because I mean, obviously the pyramids weren't all the way buried. It just depends on geographical locations. But I also think there was more than one catastrophe. I think there was multiple events that happened. It
Yep.
just seems to be that way, especially when you go and you look into the dates and different origins and demographical areas of the world. It seems like they're all about like a certain time frame, something big happened, right? But then you might have like 1,000 years between the next one, and especially in the 1800s, 1860s, it seems like there's so much that you could kind of, the Great Fires and all of that, but it's just
Yep.
so much. It's just like you could tell that they started trying to cover up the truth in a certain era for sure. I mean, it's like undeniable.
I've seen the videos on YouTube, and a lot of people talking about how everything got reset around like early 1900s. It was like maybe like a very
Oh
specific
yeah,
date that some people were talking
I
about,
think it was
like
earlier than that, even though
1930. Well, it might have been that's when the catastrophe happened, but then people were
one or
starting to
two.
like, somewhat gather themselves for like a new culture around 1913 or something like that. I
Yeah,
think. Um,
I
Man,
think in
that
the
is just,
1700s it happened also, though. So
jeez, man. It
I
could,
mean, I think
History is
every
so
3,600 years, something big's coming, though. I don't know if that makes sense, but doing the math with the numbers and the Mayan calendar kind of makes sense. I don't know.
I like what Mr. Avatar here is saying.
What's that?
And
No.
I like Mr. Avatar here. He says, I have a lot to contribute as I fasted for 52 days, spent time in timelessness. I'm fully spiritually aware now, yet electronic harassment is very problematic and prevents cell phone conversations.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
wow.
has the worst time. You have no idea. He
I
suffers bad.
Dude, I know what he's talking about with cell phone calls.
Yeah.
You know how I was talking earlier about being on that Discord voice chat and like, oh my God, it's like I knew what I was about to say was super important. And
Yep.
then boom, it crashes. Well, for years I had that same problem just with cell phones because you know that like when they start to fade out, you know, it like gets all glitchy and digitally. Um, I've had that happen like hundreds of times where it's like, oh, the most important thing, and then it starts to chop up and get all glitchy and digitally, and then
I
they
know.
can hear me.
It's like a digital voice. Yep.
Oh, and yeah, and more than one time, I thought I was hearing someone like listen in, and I was like, "Hey, I can hear you. I hear you listening in, you asshole."
You sound like me. That's what I say stuff like that all the time. Like, I know you're there. I know you're there. Why don't you come out? Well,
I hear you. Yeah.
that's hilarious. That is so funny. Yeah. Well, I know that it's getting late, and I could like this is something I could go on for hours and hours about. But I know that I don't want to wear you out and make you not want to like ever come back. So I don't know.
Yeah. I hope we
Viewers
stayed kind of
here.
on
I mean,
topic with electronic harassment.
yeah, and like I said, Mr. Avatar deal. I mean, with physically like just torture him, and I deal with a big part of that, but not like his is bad. His is really bad. But I mean, I need to get you in touch with him, or vice versa, whatever you guys are comfortable with. But
Do you have his phone number?
I do, and
Yeah, give him my phone
can
number.
I get? Can I?
Tell
I'll
him
give
to
it to
text
you.
me. Tell him to
Okay.
text me.
All right, we'll do. You heard that, Mr. Avatar, and that's what we are. I feel like as avatars, right? I don't really know, but
Hey, the movie Avatar had some serious
oh
truth drops.
shoot, yeah, and I love that movie too, by the way. But I mean, so much. But I don't know. I like sci-fi, period. So, Return of the Jedi, Star Wars. I was kind of a weird sci-fi.
You got to do you got to do the Matrix 4 so we can talk about
I
it.
can't wait. Like I just rewatching for fun tonight. I always watch the Matrix over and over. But
Do the
I got to do 4.
rewatches. Yep. It's
So
just too
I
good.
think
It's too
there's
good.
somebody told me I don't. Maybe it was you. There's like a really big twist or something that'll just make you like, what the heck just happened? Like, I think it was you, maybe.
No, I haven't really mentioned much about it other than you got to watch it. And there's the whole thing about kind of like the concept of a twin flames or like people getting
Okay.
together.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna try to watch it tonight. I got to get up
Yeah.
at 3 a.m. for a surveillance, but I don't even
Oh
care.
my
I
God.
stay up all night to watch that stuff. So
3 a.m.
I totally just this once. So it doesn't happen all the time. But
Okay.
sometimes, every now and then. But yeah, she's faking an injury, guys. Like, I wish, right? All right. Well, I appreciate you very much for dropping everything and coming on and telling us a lot of like the best thing is to hear from other people. Is it's to me sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense, and I know that many of us it's like that. So you sharing all of your thoughts is always helpful and very much appreciated. So,
Dude,
and I
this
know
is
I
so
have like tons of questions for you.
this
You
is
have
so
no
much
idea.
fun. This is so much fun. I love chatting with someone that understands what I'm, all these crazy thoughts that I've been having for
So
forever.
many, man.
So let's just definitely keep doing these and looping in like minds. And I like this cat as well. She's just got so many nice things to say.
Yeah. She's been with us for a while. She's great. She came to see me also. We've had some great people
Really?
like on here. Like, you have no idea. Just some really good, wholehearted, wonderful individuals.
I want to come out there.
You should. I'm telling you. I mean, I'm always telling people, come on.
I want to.
So,
Yeah, I want to set up like all the cameras I have and just like get all the insane
I could
stuff on
take you
camera that you
out
get.
and you will freak out. Well, especially when 2 or more are together, you're going to freak out. You're gonna
Dude,
freak out. That's all I can tell you.
and I'm telling you, that's what the fourth Matrix is all about. It's yeah, you're gonna see the secrets
Okay,
that
now
they're
that's
dropping.
oh, okay. Now I'm excited. That's yep. Okay, yeah, I can
Yeah,
already tell
Kat,
that's up my alley.
let's do
So
a rally on her at Lisa's house. We should
I've
all meet up.
seriously, I've said a million times, like I got the land. We can pitch tents or whatever. Like seriously,
Just give
I
me like
mean,
another at least a month, because you know how bad the weather just turned here.
well, that's why you want to
And
get out of there ASAP. So
well, I you know, and
you
I
got
just
to
got this
drive it
and I
though.
just got this new motorcycle, so I'm not wanting to like
No,
leave. I don't want to leave it here. And I want to. That's why I got this motorcycle. It's made for long trips. So I want to go on a trip.
but here's the selfish part of me. I want you to come soon, so I can just maybe ride your bike. You know, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a bike, but I'm gonna have a bike soon. I miss my bike so much. Sucks. Like I
Good.
said, it's the longest I've ever been without a motorcycle, and I was almost born on a motorcycle, so this really sucks.
Me too. And
Don't let
Keanu
anyone
Reeves.
run it over.
Keanu Reeves is dead right about motorcycles. He says the same thing happened to him. He didn't ride for a couple of years, and he felt like a part of his soul was just missing.
That's how I feel. Like
Dude, that's me. That's
so bad.
exactly I
And I
got a
don't
motorcycle.
ride to like be in groups. I ride about like I just like the feeling of being free, and
Yep.
it's the best feeling in the world.
Yep.
It's,
Wind
and I
hitting
find
you
myself
and
peaceful after that, right?
see, it's because we're the Sigmas. We're the lone wolves. We like to just be adventuring, exploring, you know, not be locked down
I mean,
by
I
someone
could go
else's
all day long in nature and just looking at rocks and like I'm that weird girl. Not even kidding.
Me too.
Don't
Totally.
like any kind of like don't take me to do. Well, I might do laser tag, but I am all about nature. And around here, there's just so many Mayan camps, the Brazos River harbors. I mean, I've pulled out mammoth teeth this big.
What?
Oh, that's sitting right here on my shelf. I got a mammoth tooth that's like that big.
Oh
I mean, I pulled
gosh.
out Mayan artifacts. I've got like it looks like a baby rattle, which is right over there too, but it's not.
Oh
It's
my
got the
God.
two all-seeing eye-looking things on the end of this rattle. Pulled that out of the Brazos River. I've got a blade this long. I pulled out of a creek area. Not far
Dude, you could
from
probably
here.
sell these for like huge money.
You have no idea. I have probably like let's put it this way, a lot of money's worth of stuff. Not to mention the stuff that came from Egypt that ended up here. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and not by me, but yeah. Well, it was unknowingly what it actually was. Thought it was replicas. So let's put it like that. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm just huge into any type of artifacts, but my collection would probably blow your mind. I like every day I just walk past, I'm just like, holy wow, I could look at it all day long. But my biggest goal, I just like going out and looking for more. And when you look at Google Earth, I can usually tell. I'll get on Google Earth, I'll be like, okay, I'm going right there because I can just tell by looking at the terrain if there's something there or not. So, and I'm
You're
almost
one of
always
those.
right.
You're one of those people. So
Oh heck yeah!
I remember running into, who was it on Telegram? He got real popular. It was like Mr. Dez. Did you know who I'm talking about?
That name sounds familiar, actually.
Yeah, this guy had like a big intro video to his whole what he's doing, and it blew up. I mean, millions of people watched it, and
super familiar.
And yeah, and it's like what you're talking about is he said he can look at Google Maps carefully and see like where the bodies of the giants have fallen and in what arrangements, and basically go and
Yep.
and mine directly down and find gold, like tons of gold, because it's
100%. Yes. There's
yeah.
a place in Austin I discovered that it's actually in one of my videos, and that's just a small piece. I actually haven't put the other place on because I don't really want it out there yet.
Yeah.
But there is. It's just mind blowing. I mean, and I can tell by the arrangement of the rocks, the boulders, whatnot around that they call, rocks or riverbed, but it's not. And I can prove it, especially with markings and stuff that I've found. And I mean, I'm from New Mexico also, and I was like, I grew up around all the Native American stuff, right? So, I mean, I've stumbled across Indian burial grounds and whatnot, but I mean, also there's a place in New Mexico that nobody knows about that I stumbled across. Well, maybe a few, but not very many. That is beyond Native American. Let's put it like that. Well beyond that.
Okay.
I want to say more Egyptian type. That's out in the middle of Egypt that nobody could. I doubt anyone's found it because it was one of my favorite places to go.
Mm.
And if you like caves anyway, it's about the only way to find it. So yeah, there's some
Cool.
cool stuff all around, and if people would just look, you can see it everywhere, even here in the USA. It's like, but yeah, that mammoth tooth was one of my prized possessions too. I mean, I guarantee you where this tooth came from, there is a woolly mammoth in the same area. It's in a riverbed, but I have to wait for the riverbed to go down someday. But it would take some major digging to get that. I guarantee
Wow.
you the whole thing's there,
Wow.
guaranteed. So yeah, it's bizarre, but I love that stuff. I live for that. So just give me a rock pick and in a bag all day long. I'll be gone. Like, that easy. All
Texas,
right.
you free to do that with all the empty land out there.
Yeah, well, Texas isn't that great. You got to go to the river, but that's okay. My brother has river frontage property too, so that's helpful.
Cool.
But there's better places. Trust me, Missouri and Arkansas, I found some great things too. So
Well,
there's something everywhere.
when I was living in the Phoenix area, there was to the north and then a little bit. Oh no, yeah, it was north and northeast. The whole landscape was gold. Everything was just gold colored,
The shimmer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so people theorize that there's like a massive amount of gold there. Like you can't even
Okay.
imagine how much. But then also coincidentally, there's a force that's like preventing people from digging, because when people have dug or like found caves and tried to go in, they find I think what they describe as the ant people, the ant beings.
The ant people. Oh, that, yeah. New Mexico, all the way to Utah, New Mexico, all of it, all the way to Arizona. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep. Grew up with the knowledge of it.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah, I know exactly.
and it's not
And
just like
Yuma's like that, by the way.
Yuma.
Yuma. Yeah, this long story about my ex being the SEAL teams, and
It's over at the
he was going
border.
to go
Yeah.
be stationed at the skydive school out there in Yuma. We
Okay.
didn't last very long. But long story short, there is a lot of stuff out there, but a lot of things that prevent you from going any further. So.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah. Man, there's just so much. I wish I just had a long enough life that I could figure it all out. But I'm gonna do my best to keep trying. Because there's a lot to know, and I really want to know. I'm
Yeah.
really bad about that. Like, I don't know when to quit. I don't really have quit in me, so yep, kind of a diehard.
For
Sounds
the
like you are too. So
Well, yeah, for the people that are very broad in their skill
yeah.
sets and curiosity, it's hard for us to just pick one thing to do and then actually bring it across the finish line. Like I'm trying to work
I'm
on
like,
that.
yeah.
Like I'm trying to work on that app that I was telling you about, and then you hit me with this.
I hit you with more and more.
This other idea, and I was like, oh, and now I'm thinking, oh no, but that's so much easier. I could do
Yeah.
your video app really easy, and that's what I was working on today. So
and then I
yeah.
ruined that again.
So you sidelined my other thing, yeah.
I am all over the page. I am not gonna lie, man. And I will start something. I always finish my stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I will have sometimes multiple at times going. And I mean, I'm
On
just
the back burner. Yep.
and people are like ADHD. I'm like, I don't even think that's a thing. But here we go.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I am, but maybe I am just like super curious. I don't know, but I'm okay with it.
I'm the same way. I like to think of myself as like a plate spinner. Do you know the people that spin plates on the poles and they can keep like 10 going
I know
at
what you're
one
talking
time?
about. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people do that in real life, and it's amazing. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of how I am with that's kind of I do photography, video stuff, programming.
Yeah.
Um,
I
try
love
to go
photography, by the way.
try to go to the gym. Like I'm trying to do all these
the gym.
things.
Just kidding. It's really hard to get me there. Like, you would literally have to chase me there. Like, I don't know, because I mean, I used to go all the time, but I just don't have it in me anymore. I don't know. I get so much exercise anyway, just because I go. But I need
right.
to
You have a physical job. Yeah. You're
I just constantly am moving anyway. Even if I didn't, I'd be in my garden, or I just can't sit still anyway. So I need to learn how to take it more slowly, but it's just not there.
So what should we talk about next time? What's our next topic? Should we ask people to
Ask
for
what
a
do you guys want
topic?
to hear about? Like, any curiosities or topics that you have been wondering about yourselves? It looks like we still have a few with us here. So what do you guys want to hear about, think about, talk about, like, and contribute to? leave it in the comment, whether it be now or later, or
I'm
because
inclined, I'm inclined to delve a little bit further into the whole law stuff, the legal world.
I would like to hear about that since that's what I do part of my job.
It's very related to. I know that your PIs typically interact with law enforcement semi
Oh, I do
frequently.
process serving,
Right.
notary, PI work. It's all legality type related work. So I definitely would love to hear more about that.
Yeah,
There's
and
a
it's
lot to it, I bet.
and I think it's very like an up and coming topic because I think we brushed on this in the previous talk how it's like a big thing for the First Amendment auditors to go out there and record and talk to police, and it's becoming like a really
Yeah,
popular thing. There's got to be hundreds or thousands of them that are popular on YouTube right now.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and they're and the
Some of the stuff.
and they generally are having like the right spirits, but a lot of them are lacking the knowledge that I've stumbled into.
Yeah. Well,
How the
I would love to hear what you have to say because I don't have that area covered at all. And here it's my field, kind of. I'm not really law because I really think that they're the devil's advocate attorneys, but I would
yeah
like to hear what you have to say because I think that would be something. And Kat said the same thing. Yeah, the legal stuff. That's
dealing
something
with
we could all
cops in
use to
jail.
hear about.
Yeah, I mean, I can give such a solid explanation of everything that it truly is. I'll just give a little preview. It truly is such a matrix, like such a false layer, like a layer on top of reality, that once you see it, you realize that you don't have to participate. So
It's good to know.
I
That's
think,
I'm now I'm dying. So yeah, we're gonna definitely let's do that next. They agree. So
yeah, let's just say I haven't done certain things that others do, and I will just say that when hearing what I haven't done, your normal normie out there would be flabbergasted as to how I'm not in prison. Okay.
are we
So
talking? We're not talking roller up your sleeve or type stuff. We're talking bigger. Yeah, no.
totally different
That, I mean,
stuff than that. Yeah,
totally different. Okay, I
not
was like, I
not
didn't
not
participate in that
medical
either, but
not medical stuff. I'm talking like money related stuff. Okay.
oh,
So the knowledge I have is actually profitable. You know, like the Bible says, we're supposed to be basically force. In short, spend our time
heck
on
yeah.
profitable things that are profitable. And
You and Mr. Avatar are gonna get along so good. You are
good.
gonna freak out after this.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll
send him,
see.
text him my number.
I will.
Just tell him, say hey,
When you just said that, like you don't understand your minds. Well, I always like to think mine's in there too, but I mean, you guys are like so much alike. It's ridiculous. I mean, with the things that you know about and the profitable portion, like you guys are in like blend. So,
I love what Kat's saying.
really.
Just the fact that she used the word shiznit
Shiznit. She's a shiznit cat. She is a
and
shiznit now.
spelled it weird. I like her.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. It's like she says, she goes, I'm a strange cat too, or whatever she said yesterday. She added her little post when you said, I'm unique, I'm very different, or whatever. She's like, me too. I'm like,
Saw
I
that.
think every one of us on here are that. That's who we are. We are nothing like the
Okay.
rest of the world.
Well, I'll prepare somewhat of a little presentation on that. Just some major
Perfect.
points to touch on. Probably just a lot of free form because I will want people to ask questions about it. Do we
Yeah.
want to set a time so that people can know
Yeah.
when to
Okay.
show
So
up?
with my job, sometimes it's weird, but I mean, if we do it like tonight, like how it was like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. What time was it? It was 8:30.
Eight, yeah.
8:30, right? Yeah. No.
Oh, just after 8, I think.
Yeah, it was just after 8. Yeah. So if we shoot for like that again tonight, then I'm typically here. Even if I'm not, I'll do it from my car. But
Okay.
like, what about? Are you busy Tuesday or Wednesday or Monday or I mean, what day works for you?
I was gonna say just any day, but tomorrow I'm gonna be out
Yeah, because I'm
driving
busy
quite a
tomorrow
bit.
too.
So Tuesday is good.
All right. So Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that works for you, it's not too late. Are you sure?
No, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Cool. So yeah, come with questions, and because I know I definitely have them, but I'll try to keep my mouth shut. It's really hard.
Yeah, I will prove. I will prove to everyone that
Awesome.
comes that you are living in a matrix.
That is, I cannot wait. Like that's got me. I don't know which is more exciting to watch The Matrix 4 or listen to what you have to say now.
Yeah,
So I'm on pins and needles, guys.
yeah. You will come away
Awesome.
with some Neo powers. You'll be able to hold up your hand, and
I gotta
the
wait till
bullets will
Tuesday. Dang it!
stop.
Snap.
Okay.
Okay. Now you did that to me. Dang. Okay. All right. I will let you go. And you
Cool.
guys, thank you again for being here and listening to my nonsense, to his very much worthy and wonderful conversation. Lots to contribute there. And thank you, Eric. Again, I really respect everything you have to say. And I mean, to me, like everything makes sense that you say. And haven't disagreed yet. So that's a good thing. It's okay, though. What I think that is the best from all of this is that we all learn from each other, even if it's something different. I learn something new every day.
Dude, I'm learning so much from you. I'm having so much fun. So
Me too. I mean, I've learned a lot. So thank you.
Cool. All right.
All right. So we'll see you Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
All right. See
All
ya.
right, guys. See you later, Gators. Bye.